Welcome to One-on-One with Expert Flyer. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and today we're talking travel technology. Our guest is Joey Pritikin, and he's the Vice President and Vice President of Marketing and Product Management for Tassent. And Tassent is a developer of biometric technology. Welcome, Joey.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here.
All right, the first thing is, I know that you did this really cool white paper, which is why we dragged you on here talking about all the fantastic potentials of biometric technology. But for folks out there who don't really know what biometric technology is, why don't you go through that for a minute?
So biometrics is the process of establishing and identifying people based on their unique physical characteristics. So as an example, iris recognition, fingerprint recognition, face recognition, voice are all leading biometric modalities. A few years ago, we were much less familiar with these. Now today, for instance, with the advent of the Touch ID on the iPhone and finding your friends on Facebook with face recognition, they're becoming much more familiar to us. Tassent is a believer, like others in the industry, that iris recognition in many ways is the future of biometrics because it's touchless, because it's very stable, it's very efficient, and non-invasive. So we believe that all biometric modalities have value, or many of them have value, different ones for different use cases. And iris recognition is showing a lot of promise.
Okay. So what was the spirit of the white paper on biometrics in the airline industries?
Yeah, so the problem statement's pretty straightforward. Going through an airport today, going through air travel, isn't as much fun, isn't as enjoyable as it could be. There's a lot of hassle, and the hassle often comes in waiting in lines. And if you think about all the different places where you wait in lines, it's at check-in, it's at security, it's at boarding, it's at immigration. These are all largely due to identity checks. And so what we're talking about in the white paper and today is the opportunity for biometrics to streamline the travel process by automating identity checks. So if I need to validate somebody's identity, if I need to verify their identity, biometrics are a great way to do that in a fast, seamless way and get people spending time shopping, dining, doing work, or just spending time with their families, rather than waiting in line again and again.
Okay. So is there any downside to this? I mean, I don't know. Are people going to start, taking other people's eyeballs out because they want to access some kind of private information, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see much in the way of people taking other people's eyeballs out. There's probably easier ways to get around a system. And the reality is that our products and many others in the industry have really advanced capabilities for anti-spoofing. One of the great things about iris recognition is it's a very powerful modality in terms of ensuring that an authentic individual is presenting that identity. But certainly we take it very seriously, the use of biometrics in public environments very seriously, and the fact that this is personal information. So we deploy with care, and that care is both in technology and in policy. So from a technology perspective, ensuring security, ensuring that proper encryption technologies are used both for data that's stored and data in transmission, and that the biometric technology itself, as I talked about before, has very robust anti-spoofing capabilities. But on the other side, of course, is policy, and policy is certainly in place to protect personal information in many regards in travel already. We would basically be building upon that. We are building upon that with our partners in the aviation industry.
Okay, so just kind of walk me through this for a moment. Let's just say we're at JFK Airport, and we are implementing this wonderful identification technology. I go up to my first, point of IDing, whatever it may be, and what happens? I'm, put in front of some kind of a device. It's going to scan my eyes, but how does it know that it's me? Is there some kind of precursor to that? In other words, do I have to sign up for some kind of how do they know who I am initially?
It really depends on the program. So let's use a really standard example, which is Global Entry, which is a program that the US government has very successfully rolled out over the last few years, which uses fingerprint recognition to help people get through immigration when they're returning to the country. There, in that case, you'd go to an office, sign up for the program, they'd collect your fingerprints and enroll them against your identity and match them with your passport, so that when you return to the country, simply provide the the fingerprint, the passport, and then the two are matched and you're through immigration.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a discrete enrollment process in that case.
Mm-hmm.
You could take that and take it a step further, say, okay, well, that's great, but if you use an iris recognition technology like what we have that images people anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 meters, so it's very comfortable, it's non-invasive, it doesn't have any of the stigma that fingerprints can, and especially a touch-based system in an airport where people are thinking about germs and other types of things. It really just takes it to the next level in terms of ease of use, comfort, and intuitive capability. Now, one of the neat things about having that powerful capability is that you can actually do inline enrollment. And so in some of our deployments, for instance, at Gatwick Airport in London, at Dubai Airport, there's a combination of self-service biometric enrollment, for instance, at Gatwick, and inline enrollment at Dubai, where people are at the immigration counter enrolling, so the next time they come through, they're already enrolled in the program. You don't have to go to a special meeting and take the time out of your day. In Gatwick, self-service enrollment, and then at the time of boarding, you're matched against your boarding pass, and then that record goes away. So it's sort of use case dependent, but the neat thing again is by making the biometric process really easy to use and really intuitive, regardless of language barriers or technology familiarity, we can take enrollment to the next level and really streamline the capability.
And how much time do you think you're actually knocking off the whole process from start to finish? I arrive at the airport and actually board the plane.
Right.
What's the best case scenario?
Well, a lot of time. And
Yeah.
so, again, as a traveler, you can add up the time that you wait, whether it's dropping your bags, whether it's waiting in line at security, whether it's waiting in line at immigration or at boarding.
Yeah.
And that adds up a lot. A very tangible example is in Dubai Airport. Prior to the deployment of our system, there were two separate processes that many travelers would have to go through. One first for iris recognition, and then one for immigration. And the total wait time between these was, between 40 and 50 minutes because of the number of travelers and how manual the process was, how cumbersome the iris recognition process was with a first generation product. And when we delivered a product that's capable of very high quality iris capture in just a few seconds, they were able to put it at the immigration counter and cut the average wait time in many cases to less than a minute if people use the automated smart gate system, right? So a big part of this is getting people toward the automated system. Certainly the first time if you go through a manual counter, there's going to be a little bit longer wait, but the second time it's less than a minute and you're through immigration.
Okay.
So a lot of time savings. And you think about, example, again, Dubai Airport, 35 million people going through immigration every year. That kind of time really, really adds up and becomes sort of a huge cost factor for travelers and a huge missed opportunities for the airports, both in terms of revenue, but also to just deliver a great traveler experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where do we stand right now in terms of adoption here in the US?
Yeah, I'd call it sort of the first wave of adoption. As I mentioned, there's the global entry program that facilitates immigration. CLEAR is one of the better known programs, in that case getting people to the front of the line in security. And those are really great steps forward. They use more of first generation biometrics, which again, whether it be iris or fingerprint, were more cumbersome to use. We haven't yet gotten to the point of a next generation of adoption like we're seeing in some of the other countries, where it's really a seamless, self-service, automated process. The government, airlines, airports, and private companies have all been sort of looking at this problem, and we're really excited to be engaged with it and helping them find solutions that could scale in the complexity, of U.S. Aviation environments.
Okay, so talk a little bit about the fun stuff, the bringing back the personalization to air travel.
Yeah, well, there's actually some really neat opportunities you have once you establish a strong identity through biometrics. So as an example, in the white paper, we talk about a future where when you sit down in the airplane, the integrated audio-visual system, if you want, checks your identity and personalizes the experience for you. So let's say that I was traveling last to Dubai, and I was in the middle of watching a really good movie, but I didn't finish it. So I sit down on my next flight, it says, "Welcome back, Joey. It's great to see you. Would you like to pick up where you left off watching The Big Short?"
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And so that's one side of it. And we know that last time you were here, you wanted to eat this or drink that. Would you like the same thing now?
Mm-hmm.
And while it's automated, it's a bit of a personal touch,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's somebody saying, "Hey, welcome back. You're a valued customer. It's good to see you again, and we'd like to offer you a tailored experience."
Very cool. All right. So before we end, what does the next 5 to 10 years look like? Give us a look into the future.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see more seamless travel. We're definitely going to see the travel experience get better and better. The rate of adoption in the US and around the world in terms of these technologies is very encouraging. I think it's going to be done in a sophisticated way that protects people's personal information, that balances security with getting people through the airport experience, and in a way that people start enjoying travel again. I mean, imagine if you walk into an airport and it's seamless. You drop your bag, you go through security, you get on the plane, and you didn't have to wait in line.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And we and the industry are working on technologies that are going to make it faster, easier, more intuitive, less cumbersome on travelers. So it's pretty neat to be a part of that. And I think if you look 10 years in the future, it's going to be a very different experience and a really positive move.
Very cool. So if folks want to take a look at the white paper, where should they go?
They should check out our website. It's www.tascent.com. That's TASCENT.com, and click on resources.
Perfect. All right. Listen, Joey, it was great to have you. We want to catch up with you again.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care.